Protect your DNA. BioPQQ can promote formation of new mitochondria. Infowarsstore.com.
Welcome back. Joining me in the studio now is Joe Biggs, and we're going to be speaking a little bit about the fact that the radical Islamic ideology is on the rise in the West. Now, Joe, you wanted to talk about a story coming out of Canada, of all places.
Well, think about this. Why is this kind of stuff happening? It's because of the liberal media. They don't really go out and attack radical Islam. They're too scared to even say radical Islam. And with that, people think, hey, I can get away with doing stuff. And people see what's happening, and they see the death of the American man in America, and they see that ISIS looks powerful in a sense. And you get these young, impressionable minds that really have been so lost to social media. You know, they don't know how to talk to people anymore, and they slip down these dark tunnels. A lot of these kids are on so many different drugs, psychotropics and all this stuff. And eventually they sit on the internet, they watch these videos, and they become brainwashed. And here you got this guy right here. It's an article by the Globe and Mail. It says, who was Aaron Driver? What we know so far about the man killed in Strathroy, Ontario, Canada. Now, he was the son of a Canadian Forces corporal and was well known to authorities as a staunch Islamic State supporter.
He's just openly supporting them on his social media.
Yeah, on Facebook, on all this stuff, talking about it, how he supports it. He actually went by the name Haran Abdurrahman on social media. So, I mean, red flag there. And the reason this guy was actually able to be caught before he was able to carry out a series of attacks, a tip from the FBI came in, and they gave the Royal Canadian Mounted Police a video, a martyrdom video, where this guy is talking about how he was going to go out and blow up a area during rush hour traffic in Canada. Now, what did happen is he was successfully able to detonate a first explosion that hurt himself and a cab driver, and there was a little bit of damage. Police were able to get there in time and shoot him and kill him before he was able to set off a second device. The interesting thing his father says right here, he says he did not understand how the 24-year-old son was able to compile bomb materials while he was the subject of a terrorism peace bond.
Wow.
So we've seen this time and time again, how the FBI has intervened.
We're watching you because you're openly supporting ISIS, but meanwhile, we're going to let you collect the goods to build a bomb.
Well, the interesting thing is these are just kids with ideas, and they have no way to facilitate these actual attacks and carry them out until the FBI and other, alphabet agencies step in and help facilitate this guy. There's always some guy who's undercover that helps these kids out, these people out, and get them the materials they need, set them up with the right people, and then allow them to do something. Thank God there wasn't a whole lot of people that were hurt. But like you said, in an interview with the National Post, Wayne Driver confirmed his son, an ardent ISIL supporter, had died when police raided his home. He said, yes, that was my son, Aaron, who was shot and killed. Our worst nightmare has come true. As sad and shocked as I am, it doesn't surprise me that it has come to this. So
yeah, I mean, he sees his son is going down the wrong path, and I mean that's what happens if you hang out with terrorists. If you're showing support for terrorism, there are consequences for that. Just like we're seeing now with the young teenager who Jalen Young out of Mississippi. She was just sentenced today to 12 years in prison. Her and her fiance, her boyfriend, they were going to go join ISIS on their honeymoon.
Disguise.
Yeah, I mean, so romantic. And look, like, she's a young, beautiful woman, had her whole life ahead of her. Like, how does this happen? Like, how is this ideology getting imported to the West? And then, of course, we've reported before the Dabiq magazine, their propaganda magazine that ISIS puts out. They talk about how these young people in the West are primed to become supporters of ISIS, that they want to infiltrate these groups because we share the same enemy. This is what it says in their magazine. These Palestinian groups, Down with the Empire, Revcom, We Hate America, We Hate the Empire. These are the type of groups that are primed.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, every time we go to these different protests all around the country, that's what you see is this huge growing force of hatred for America, the hatred for patriotism, the hatred for our flag. You mentioned Revcom. Revcom is currently one of the main guys, Gregory Johnson. He's trying to say that he didn't burn me with the flag, and that, it's his freedom of speech to go out and stomp on the flag and burn it. But, when we raise the questions, hey, can we burn your commie flag or the rainbow flag? Well, they go, no, that's a symbol. That means something to us.
Right.
But the American flag, they
that
call it.
People have died for.
And then that was my thing, is I went out there and, you know, it pisses me off to see this kind of hatred for our country. And that's why this ideology from radical Islamic terrorism is actually able to kind of flow into our borders, figuratively and, you know, actually, and get these people and spin them around and get them to go out and carry out this stuff, because the media every day is promoting anti-Americanism, anti-patriotism, get rid of the guns, you know.
Also give a primetime interview to the guy that wanted to be a martyr and take out Donald Trump.
And the Homeland Security is the saying is, if you see something, say something. But half the people are so scared to say anything if it has to do with a person who could be a Muslim, because then they might be frowned upon and be called Islamophobic, or, you know,
better to let them go join ISIS and then ruin their lives than...
Or carry out an attack and kill tons of people, like what happened in San Bernardino. Those people were watched too. The Orlando shooter, the fact that the father of Omar Mateen, Sadiq, can stand behind Hillary Clinton in an area that's clearly has to be vetted by Secret Service and other agencies as well to be able to get there.
And he's under active FBI investigation, so it's not as if they don't know where he is. But, you know, then again, maybe they don't.
But this is why it's going to grow.
We still don't know where his wife went. We never kind of heard back about where Omar Mateen's wife went. She just disappeared. They just don't know.
But we can all agree that radical Islam is bad in many ways. And in these Arabic countries, women are subjected to all kinds of horrible environments. You know, in Saudi Arabia, if a man claims that his wife cheated on him, he could just go pull her out of the car in the middle of the road. The police will stop it. And I've seen the videos, and they'll chop the woman's head off. And these women in Iran and other countries, Saudi Arabia, are forced to wear hijabs and these full body clothings. And this is another part I wanted to get into. There's actually an Iranian journalist. Her name is Masih Alan Jihad, who's asking men to post selfies of them in hijab, because they, along with their wives, are unhappy with Iran's hijab law, which require the women to cover themselves up. And she's asking these guys to use #MENInHijab. And it sounds silly, but at the same time, think about this. If you're a woman, you should be able to put on whatever you want. You shouldn't be told what you have to wear. That's got to be the most demoralizing. It's a form of slavery, in a sense.
There are a lot of women who are Muslim women speaking out against this, because they're like, this is not how we grew up. This is something that was then imported for a more extreme ideology to say that we need to wear these cover-ups, and they've just continued to get even more, like you can't show your ankles, your wrists, or you could be raped. I mean, they say that you're asking to be raped if you're not covered from head to toe and you're out in the street.
And they say their reason behind having the woman or the wife covered up completely, so they can, their eyes, they're the only ones who can see the woman in their entirety. But it says, but you can have multiple wives.
Right. Well,
so you can see all of your wives, but no one else can see. Like, it's the most ridiculous thing in the world.
Well, you're basically saying that your men haven't evolved enough to the point where they can respect you without raping you if you're out there without these clothes on. And actually, you know, it made me so frustrated because Will Smith, the actor, came out. He is there. I think he was in Dubai or sorry, he was there in the Middle East, Iran, talking about Donald Trump and what an embarrassment he is, and how he just, you know, anyone that would call a woman, what did he call Rosie O'Donnell? Whatever he said about Rosie O'Donnell, he's like, I would never want a president that would speak that way about a woman, as he's also saying, I came over here to show that we're not Islamophobic, and it's like, are you even... You're in a place where women
they hate you,
can literally be murdered if they get raped, or they get thrown in prison if they are raped, or they get acid thrown on them. I mean, it's just, these people are insane.
I was listening to a thing on Michael Savage earlier. He's like, I'm sitting here tweeting out right now as I'm talking to you guys live how, you know, Muslims are nice. No one here's attacking me. No one hates me. Well, actually, buddy, they're not really a big fan of black people.
Yeah.
And you're there because you're a celebrity, and that's about it. And they're using this as a propaganda tool to push out this narrative that, hey, we're nice. We don't do this stuff. But we know Saudi Arabia is linked to 9/11. We know that they go out and brutally murder homosexuals and throw them off bridges and behead them and chop their hands off. I mean, this is not a religion of peace. There's something going on.
Oh, man, there is totally something going on. And I know that we are going to continue talking about this because it's not going away. This is obviously being shoved in our face. Thank you, Will Smith. I really liked your movies, but now I'm, of course, going to have to shut you off, just like Matt Damon and his anti-gun hypocrisy. But Joe Biggs, thank you so much. And thank you guys for tuning in to the show tonight. If you're watching us on YouTube, be sure and hit the subscribe button. And you can also become a subscriber to prisonplanet.tv. You can share your username and password with up to 20 people at the same time, and you're supporting the info war while you're at it. We'll see you here again tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central.
Thousands of years ago, there was a basic form of chivalry. Our ancestors would hear the drums of war, giving the warriors of the tribe a chance to organize and prepare a defense. 60 years ago, when foreign air forces were approaching filled with bombs, they had drums of their own, air raid sirens. But in the 21st century, there are silent weapons for quiet war. Pathogens added to the food and water, and to the lining of plastics that destroy our vitality, turn off our hormones, and accelerate our journey towards death. I personally counter this onslaught with Anthroplex. Anthroplex is designed with known organic concentrated herbs to create the basic foundation to normal metabolic activity inside the human body. Discover why Anthroplex is turning so many heads today. It's time for us to take our bodies back into our own hands, and it starts at InfoWarsLife.com with Anthroplex.